So let me start with the introduction. So David Gurle, Symphony is a digital transformation partner and key technology infrastructure vendor used by major financial institutions worldwide. So we are very excited to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Victor Carreau, right? So you're the co-founder and CEO of Comet Meetings. Comet Meetings offers new generation meeting venues. The idea is to stimulate productivity, creativity, well-being. That's correct? Thanks for joining. And Marie, you are the co-founder and chief evangelist at Klaxoon, so a suite of collaborative tools used to make teamwork easier. Welcome to VivaTech. It's great to have you all here.
Thank you.
So this is an exciting topic. So I'll start probably with Marie. So Marie, you founded Klaxoon just 6.5 years ago. You have been at VivaTech since the very beginning. So you are...
Yes, 2016, yes, we were there.
Very loyal, right? So you started with 4 square meters in 2016, and now you are on stage here at VivaTech. So that's fantastic. I think that's a great way. This is what we want to see here.
It's true that we began in 2016 with a very small booth, and we have now the opportunity to be in the Hall of Tech. So it has been a great journey, in fact, yes, with VivaTech. Because, you know, when we founded Klaxoon in 2015, just a year before, and in fact, we founded Klaxoon from a strong belief and also from an observation of what we were seeing around us. And the fact is that we've seen that, you know, meetings were not efficient. And when you're attending a meeting, it's very difficult because, you know, everything stands on the shoulder of the facilitators. So you have top-down meetings with anyone in the meeting just doing anything else.
Yeah,
multitasking. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So, and in fact, when you attend a meeting, it's not so easy, you know, to share ideas because you have 50% of the people who do not dare to express ideas, concerns. And it's not that they have nothing to say, it's just that they do not find the good way to do it. And it's also very difficult, you know, to end with a decision, to come up with a decision at the end of the meeting. 1 meeting out of 4 only ends with the meeting. You know, you always leaving the meeting, say, okay, we have to book another one just to be able to take a decision. And they are also too long. So that's why in 2015 we set up we designed this suite of apps to be able, in fact, for anyone in a meeting, anyone working together with the team to be able to work more efficiently, in fact, all together. So it could be in meetings, could be in workshops, project management, and so on. And it's true that it worked immediately. So that's why 9 months only after the launch, we were first in January 2016 at the CES, the equivalent, and then, of course, at VivaTech for the first VivaTech in 2016, yeah.
Brilliant. And remote working is something that, you know, we spoke about it early on in the different sessions, something that you have been doing over a decade. It's not new. So what did you notice when the pandemic hit, and how have the trends evolved?
In fact, we've seen a lot of things. First of all, when the pandemic arrived, we immediately got mobilized. We decided to offer a free access program to Klaxoon to be able for people, for organizations to face the challenges. And it was huge because during that period of time, we have onboarded 10 times more people than before. So we have spent a lot of time with people, with clients, online, and in fact we have seen 3 major trends. We had people online telling us, you know, the working methods that we were using when we were all sitting down around each other in a room, it doesn't work when we all remote. So how can we organize ourselves to be able to work together as a team remotely? Then we had the managers online, and they told us, okay, I have to coordinate, I have to sync up action within my teams, but how can I do that without spending all the day in meetings and video conferences? And they also told us about the conferences because they told us it's too long, it's too difficult, you know, to switch from a screen to another screen, and being able, just to work all together, and also regarding the internet connection. So that's why, in fact, during the first lockdown, regarding that observation, we decided in a few months to settle a new product designed for that situation. So it was board, our whiteboard, being able, to connect anyone, to work visually all together with working methods, templates, and also live integrating on it. But we also have seen, because we launched in September that product, but we also have seen that there has been an acceleration in the modification of the working model that has been in place for decades. So we have seen that, in fact, because we have all experienced unprecedented sequences of events never seen before, that in fact we wanted something new, something different, and that it has opened up, in fact, a huge amount of opportunities. For instance, we all have learned how to better work together remotely. So in fact, nowadays, we know how to open up new talent all over the world, to seek for new partners, to seek for new business, you know what I mean? So it's really huge. We also have learned how to pay more attention to people when we are all remote, and it's very important because it is also the way to be able to have more creative, more reactive, teams. And I think that during that period, we did not travel a lot also.
Yeah.
So I think that people have been also able, to bear in mind our environmental responsibility at work also. Because do you really need to go at the office for that meeting? Do you really need to take a plane, to take your car and so on? Or can you just do it remotely? You know what I mean? And it's also, and I can speak about it because I'm working remotely for a decade. It's true. So I think you can also have the opportunity to move elsewhere, to be able also to have a better life, so a life that better suits you. And the last one I wanted to point out is also that I think that during that period, we all have learned how to work much more at our own pace. So, which means that we all have learned how to work synchronously with our team, so all together, but also asynchronously with the team.
Right.
So, and I think it's key because it's a way to work and not to mobilize the team members excessively. And I truly think that
be mindful of that.
Yeah, that's it. That's
right.
it.
Yeah. I'll get back to you, Marie. Let me just turn to Victor here. Probably Comet meetings. I would like to know more. How is it changing the way employees come together?
First of all, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Well, before I tell you what we actually do, I must tell you what we believe in strongly. And we've been believing for the 5 years, for the last 5 years, and in particular over the last year and a half, that the way we work is kind of broken. And before even wondering what should our work environment and employee experience look like, we should just build, kind of identify the building blocks of what work actually is. And we find three. Work is a mix of production, collaboration, and socialization. Production is what all of us do by ourselves, be it reading an email or working on a document. And this, you do it better actually when you're focused, when you're not disturbed, and when you're maybe at home. And this is the part of work that is way easier to do remotely. Collaboration can be done remotely, partly. And collaboration, it's whenever we put our pieces of production together so that we build something which is actually bigger than us and bigger than our own small task. And this can be, and on this, the key question should be, should we really collaborate? So should we meet? Should it be asynchronous? Should it be synchronous but virtual? Or should it be in physical, like in physical?
Right.
And on this collaboration, we've seen that as soon as the task is too complex, or that people are too numerous, or that people don't know each other well, or that it just takes more than 40 minutes, you just want to be present physically in a single space. So that's collaboration. And last is socialization. And this is not work-related, kind of, but this will make our bonds, it's because we have strong bonds or very weak bonds between colleagues or with the company that we're working with, that will actually be spending more time or less time within this company. And so when you take a look at these 3 building blocks, you realize that as soon as we continue moving towards the future of work, production will be done more at home or in other places, while the office will be a collaboration and socialization place. And we call it meeting is the new office. And so what we do is basically we tell you...
So the office is not dead.
No, the office is definitely not dead. But the office, in the way it has been used and consumed over the last years, is totally dead. So we need to rethink it, and we need to make sure that whenever we go to the office, be it our own office or third-party places, we need the experience to be amazing. And so we've developed 2 products. We have Comet Meetings, which is the network of buildings in Paris, Brussels, Madrid soon, where basically you will go and attend a one-day meeting in an amazing place without spending a ton of money. And we also developed last year, we increased the velocity last year on the second piece of business, which is the one we call Hospitality by Comet, which is basically going to every single big landlord or large company and telling them, look guys, the office is not dead, but the office you used to have is dead. So let us think with you about how to make it a real collaboration and socialization place.
By reinventing
Exactly, by designing the services, designing the places, operating them and selling them to external customers.
I should come to see you.
Definitely, everybody should come.
Right. David, so with Symphony, so you operate in regulated markets with very strict rules regarding the types of communication tools you can use. So how were you able to support your customers' business continuity plans as they move to remote working?
You know, it's been pretty much the same story as we heard from Mary. The need, obviously, to collaborate when we are apart is as strong as in any market, but especially in financial services, where regulations dictate how you can communicate, what you can use, and even when you can use it. And so this kind of created an interesting market for us, and it happened over a weekend. It was, I still remember, the second weekend of March of 2020. And there was before and after that weekend. And so a bunch of our customers have tried to deploy their own tools, which they had acquired from a number of vendors. And they just failed. You know, Monday morning, nothing was working. The VPNs were clogged. The servers were down. And then, you know, we received furious calls in a good way. You know, can you help us? So that really started a new era. I think that era you know, speaks to everything we heard so far, but most importantly, the creation of a new culture. Mm-hmm. And in financial services, where everything you say is recorded, everything you do,
really? No,
absolutely. And if not, you go into big troubles and big fines. We are talking about, you know, billions of dollars of fines that the governments take because some organizations fail to record those conversations. And so it was fascinating. For example, some of our customers, you know, think about JP Morgan, 250,000 employees. In one day they go remote. How do they go remote when they don't have capacity to do so? So, you know, you can only do this with technologies that come from the cloud because the cost of deployment is not there. What I have observed, you know, since the inception of this crisis, first of all, I consider the crisis to be a booster, and we are lucky to be in the industry that we are. Some of our colleagues are not lucky in some other industries. But it's a culture of the individual that has come forward, which is I choose the way I work. You can no longer impose me, or I do not want to be imposed to go to the places that you want me to go because I have just proven to you in the last 18 months that I can do it this way. And that has completely changed the mindset of the real estate managers in big corporations, in small corporations. For example, at Symphony, we have reduced our capacity by 50%. We know that in our office in New York, which we're going to close, physically speaking, next week, we had 60 people, and in the last 18 months, on average, I had 2 people per week. And so, you know, why do I go and pay all of those fees to landlords? And all of that has transformed the way we think, and an ability to bring our social, professional life into our professional world also changed.
It's also what you were saying, actually, when you said that the office, it isn't dead, but the office we knew, actually, that's not working. This is what you're saying.
Exactly. It is morphing to something of when we want, we meet, but we are not obligated to be there like we used to be from 8 to 6, every day. And I can see with my employees, I can see with my customers, they are all rethinking how they're going to organize work moving forward. And I think with that, we're going to have a better productivity. I'm sure, Mary, with lack of commuting, you gain more time, not only for yourself, but also for your family. Because, you can organize your asynchronous works, in the time that they are busy and you are not. So I think, at the end, we have graduated a new and better world. Once again, the crisis, I think it was Churchill who said, never waste a crisis. And it proves, one more time that this is true.
So what do you think were the impact in terms of culture, company culture?
I think the company culture is going to be more respect for the individual desires. I think that's coming up. And then the flexibility that comes, which is amalgam into the green culture. So I want to have less impact, environmental impact. I want a better quality of life. When I got into the job market, when I was 25 years old,
that was yesterday.
It was yesterday. I just turned 26. It was the way it is or highway. Now people come to me and say, how can you balance my work and life balance? I mean, we are talking about candidates who are looking for a job to work for you, coming with demands.
Yeah, that's new.
And that is completely new. And that is, I think, better for humanity and better for workforce because it will yield far better productivity and less stress.
So perhaps Mary and Victor would like to have your thoughts on this theme of culture. How do you ensure that your culture will stay strong, Marie?
Well, I think that you have to, for your culture to stay strong, to pay attention, of course, to individuals, but also to pay attention to the moments where the teams are going to meet. So it can be, for instance, during rituals, when all you have on daily meetings or weekly meetings. So how you're sure, no matter where the team members are, that you are all going in the same way. So just to be able, quick synchronization, to be able to visualize what you're doing, what is the valuable information you want to share within the team, to be able, no matter where you are, to be sure that you're on the good way. And one other key thing, I think, for getting a culture that is still strong is also not to avoid synchronization between all the teams, not your team, the team that you're working with the whole day, but also, for instance, financial team with a marketing team and with all the teams. So cross teams, in fact, organization, but because I think it's key. Otherwise, you will have silos. You will have several different cultures in your team.
And usually those people don't speak to themselves.
Yeah, that's right. And it's even more real when you work remotely, when you're in an hybrid organization. So I think you have to pay attention to that in order to be able to get a strong culture. And also, I think one key things is feedback.
Absolutely.
I think that we often say at Klaxoon that feedback is the breakfast of champions. So I think that you also have to pay attention, to the individual in a one-to-one relation also. So you have to bear in mind, of course, all the type of synchronization within your team.
Victor, what's your take?
No, values are the sum of basically people. You need to find the right people, and this will be increasingly true whenever we get farther from one another very often. It's also values, and you need to make sure that your values are well known and well spread all around the company, so that even if you just see one another every other day, every other week, that still you're kind of moving towards the same direction. And then the culture is also a third important thing, which is the work environment. And so if we go towards more remote, of course the work environment will also need to be both virtual and physical. And so you need to and what we did, for instance, last year is that when it went full remote, we just increased the number of touch points we had with each of the teams, between team members that just were from random teams. So we increased this virtually, and then as soon as we had the chance, we just all went back to the same room, to the same meeting room, because we all had to see each other also. And so you need to make sure that you see each other, and this is kind of our motto at Comet, you see each other less often, but you see each other better. And so you need to make sure that the few times you see each other are like amazing.
Amazing.
Can I just react to what Victor said?
Yes, of course.
Actually, you know, I advise few startups, and now there is a new term I heard. It's called the COVID company. and COVID company, Victor, is exactly what you said. It is fully remote, but we meet for high quality engagement. And I think we're going to see more and more of that, you know, among the new companies. And who knows, maybe existing companies will transform themselves into COVID companies. Hopefully, we'll change the name.
So the word COVID finally is going to have some positive.
I hope we'll forget the word, though.
Marie.
I also think that the workplace has to be a connection the whole day, because you know you will have people on site, you will have people remote, but you have to find a way on a daily basis to get people have a connection no matter where they are. So that's why, for instance, with the board we have created, with all the visual collaboration, we have implemented, in fact, a new kind of visual office, which means no matter where you are, you need to think about something, you need to do a workshop, you have something visual to be able to see each other. And for instance, in the workplace, you know, you all have not maybe such big screen, but we all have screens. And sometimes, often, I can say, you have what? Videos, all the day, same videos on the screen. So I truly think that we have the opportunity to rethink, in fact, the workspace with all that screen and being able, you know, to take advantage of that screen and to be able to get connectors for the people within the office on Monday and the people, for instance, that are remote and that need to work and to meet all together. I think it's really key also for the workspace.
Right. So this is a very exciting conversation. So I'm just reminding the audience that you can still send us your questions. We have a couple of minutes that would take your questions here. But before we get there, what's your biggest takeaway when it comes to the post-pandemic employee experience?
I've been working on collaboration technologies for the last 25 years. First of all, I'm so happy that we finally got it to the mass market. I mean, we've been talking about online meetings for a very, very long time. So the most of the technology we use is not new. So I think about that perspective. So what about the next 25 years? What are we going to see that is going to take us closer when we are apart? And I think that the innovation the innovations actually are going to completely transform the way we interact with each other in the future. You know, the holographic things that we see in the sci-fi movies may not be happening tomorrow, but you know, the augmented reality, the virtual reality, ability to already hear somebody from the left side, you know, versus from the right side in the way we engage, and trying to recreate a fully immersive collaborative experience is what is tomorrow. And we are no longer, you know, we are not going to go back to the pre-COVID era. So that means that organizations such as Klaxoon and many, many others now have the tailwind and the market requirements and the innovation and the vision to push things forward, and it's just going to be better. You know, I'm an optimist, so I can't be an entrepreneur otherwise, but I'm also very excited because our lives are going to be much, much better.
All right, and Victor?
I would say that the key thing for me is that we'll be going towards a non-linear week. In a way, we'll not be just spending every day, every week as we used to. The key question we'll be asking ourselves, I think very often, will be being mindful of our own time. Should I spend this time doing that? And in particular, traveling. And traveling will be both the long haul travel. Should I really go to this meeting in Atlanta, or should I do it with a Visio, or should I do like one every other meeting? And also, at a very smaller scale, by commuting, should I really spend half an hour in the sub to go there? And for days which will be production, you will just stay home. And for other moments, you will know where you will be going there. but I think there is a big elephant in the room, which is that if management doesn't change, then this will not happen. And so, I mean, maybe we'll talk about it later, but if management doesn't agree to shift from basically saying, I manage you and you need to be at the office every day, and so you need to just check a box. If you don't shift from these to a trust-based management, nothing will change.
So these are the habits that we should put aside. This is what you're saying. Yeah. Mary.
In addition, because I agree with those guys, I will add that this is also the moment to rethink the working methods. Because, you know, when we launched Klaxoon 2015, people were telling, okay, this is great, we need it, but, you know, we will wait for a program or something very at a large scale, how to transform ourselves and so on. And then the pandemic. And then people said, okay, I have to do it. I can't wait. I have to do it now. So I think the best takeaway for me is that at least we now have the opportunity to rethink the way we work. No more, you know, linear conversation and so on. You have the opportunity to rethink the way you work all together as a team. You have the opportunity to have more freedom. You have the opportunity to set up a new way of managing people, also more freedom, more trust also within your team. And for me, who has been working remotely for a decade, I say, yes, you can do it, and it can be wonderful, in fact.
Right, so ladies and gentlemen, it's question time. Well, we have questions here from Bettina and Atul. Actually, we've covered part of it, but probably just as a reminder, what are the experiences from the pandemic that will carry on into the future? Are there things?
I mean, something Victor said, I think it's really worth double-clicking on. You're going to have to trust people when they are remote. I would say, the management style by command and control is obviously pretty hard and difficult to implement. So we had to develop a new muscle, and I think it has proven that it's been developed, and people can actually be trusted on the time that they commit to their work on the management by objective. So this is going to, I think, perdure and it creates an environment of empowerment towards the employees. So an empowered person becomes personally attached to their objectives. It's kind of their own startup. You know, they want to prove to their management and their colleagues that you know, they own this task and they're going to accomplish this. So there is a point of honor that comes into the picture, and that fundamentally, you know, from a management philosophy point of view, is a great asset, because motivation kicks in much higher. Productivity rate as a consequence increases, the loyalty factor goes up. So I think that's something that you said, Victor, I really like, and I think it's going to be a very important change in our culture.
Victor, you want to add something there?
No, I think we're living an amazing period, and we just need to take it step by step. I'm just concerned by companies, and I guess every one of us sees around us friends who are in companies which basically said, let's go back to normal, let's go back to before. I'm just scared for these companies, because I think that maybe not today, but within a few months or a few years, they will realize that just talents will not be going there anymore. And so everybody, this is a problem which is at everybody's door, and we all need to take a very good look at it.
Well, thank you very much to all of you for this great session.